What is going on, guys? Matt down to a daily grind fantasy sports here to give you the edge for this 11-game NBA slate on DraftKings. We are back to an 11-game slate after going down to a 3-game slate yesterday. 11-game slate on Monday, so it really makes no sense, but I'm ready to bring it to you right now. Now, before we jump into the NBA slate, one thing I like to do, and I will be doing this going forward, is going over my exact lineups from the previous night, provide transparency for you guys, and provide you guys with a sense of, I guess, knowledge on what you should be doing in terms of lineup construction, in terms of contest selection, GPPs, all that good stuff. You guys who have watched these videos have already know what I'm about to say, but I'm going to be going over my exact process, what I do every single night. I've been sticking to the three-man contest, big GPPs, smaller GPPs, medium-sized GPPs, and also providing a double-up lineup to kind of hedge my big GPPs just in case the chalk does hit, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. I cashed in my double-ups, did not. I actually got throttled in all my bigger GPPs because I had 100% exposure here to Kevin Durant, who did not do well. So let's actually kind of recap this. If you guys take a look here at my double-up lineups, these were all pretty chalky, guys. My lowest owned guy was actually Eubanks at 20.6% ownership, and I actually had the chalk lineup. As you guys can see, this was a duplicated lineup, but that is perfectly fine. As you guys can see, a lot of people actually took this, more people than I thought. A lot of the Sharks took this one. This was what I just came down to in terms of ownership. Patty Mills, Eric Bledsoe, Kevin Durant, Draymond, Hartenstein, Reggie Jackson, Paul George, and Eubanks were all very chalky. That did hit. However, if we take a look here at my GPPs, they all got throttled. My highest scoring GPP of my 3 lineups was 220. Let's actually take a look on how I decided to get different in that contest. Obviously, it did not go well. We did not know Nick Batum was going to be on the minute limit. He was 28.2% owned if he was on a minute limit, and if I knew that before tip, I would have never played him, obviously. But I did get different in a couple spots here. I tried getting different with Eubanks and the Nick Batum combination. This is actually relatively chalky. Also, Paul George I thought was going to be somewhat different because I thought Steph Curry was going to be higher owned than him, but it was the opposite, which was very weird. So didn't do well with that. And my other GPP, I just want to show you guys one more, how I tried to get different here. I'll show you my worst lineup here of the night. I got different here with Zubac and Donovan Mitchell as my last spots because I knew that the center position was going to be heavily duplicated with Hartenstein and Eubanks. So got different there. Also, Rudy Gobert was carrying the most ownership, I think, in general in terms of the centers, maybe other than Hartenstein. Regardless, that's how I got different here with Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell did not do well because of the blowout. Last night was just weird overall. I think I lost a little bit of money again. Hedging your bets there with the double ups, making sure that if the chalk does hit, you don't get throttled. Night in and night out. I think I ended up losing like 20 overall bucks. But regardless, we move on to the next slate because we have a 11-game NBA slate to look forward to. And honestly, this slate is so straightforward, but not at the same time. So you guys will see what I'm talking about here. We have a very straight path to victory here as of right now with a couple pieces of injury news that came out yesterday. Doncic being one of those guys ruled out here for the foreseeable future. So all the chalk's going to be on Dallas as of right now. But there's also a lot of pending injury news that could shift up the slate. I don't think it's going to trump some of this Dallas chalk, but I do think that it could be a viable these pieces could be viable here a little bit closer to lock and even after lock. But also, last night we did utilize the late swap priority list because Man was ruled out after lock. We prioritized a bunch of Clippers, and if that happens again tonight, we will prioritize our late swap priority list. For all of you new guys watching this channel, it's something on dgfantasy.com. It's for our paid members only. When something happens after lock, we give you guys the exact plays you should pivot to, give you guys an edge. Last night didn't really help as well because so many people were on Kevin Durant, so it didn't work out as much as we would have liked it to. But on nights like tonight where there's so many games, it definitely will benefit you in the long run. But let's go ahead and start going over this injury report here for the 11-game slate, starting out with Indiana and Detroit. Really nothing going on here. Chris Duarte is questionable. However, those players, even if he is ruled out, really won't take priority, so nothing really going on there. With Detroit, we have Kelly Olynyk. He is still out. There's some type of value there with Detroit, but again, not as much as the Dallas game. Washington, same kind of picture. It looks like Bradley Beal is now questionable. If he does play, then yeah, we're going to be completely off the Washington Wizards. Other than that, this is a relatively high-scoring game here. The over-under is set at a 214.5. So again, based on in relativity to the rest of the teams, the rest of the season here on the slate, yeah, that is a relatively high-scoring matchup. With Boston, we are pending injury news here on Robert Williams. He's questionable. Same thing with Thomas. If Robert Williams is ruled out, then yeah, that's a huge bump to some of the centermen that's there, and also Al Horford. With Atlanta, Bogdanovic and Herter are questionable. If they are ruled out, again, does not trump that Dallas value. Then with the Pelicans, we obviously are without Zion Williamson yet again. He's been out for the entirety of the season so far. And then with Miami, we actually have significant pending injury news here with Adebayo. He is questionable. Butler, Dedmon now, and also Garrett. So if any of these guys are ruled out, mainly talking about Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, huge amount of usage, huge boost in minutes to go around the rest of this roster. As you guys know, last slate without Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero went ballistic, and he will probably be chalk again, alongside with Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, and the rest of the gang here. If Adebayo is ruled out, Dedmon is in. He's going to also be in a smash spot. If both those guys are ruled out, then yeah, there's a lot to decipher here with the Miami Heat. Going down the list here with the Lakers, we have Trevor Ariza, LeBron James, Nunn, and Reeves out. We're used to seeing that picture. However, THT is still not priced accordingly. We will visit that picture here in a little bit. With the Heat, looks like Chris Middleton is now probable. So thank goodness we get to see a full healthy roster for the first time this season. It seems like here with the Milwaukee Bucks against the LA Lakers, that's going to be an intriguing matchup because the Milwaukee Bucks have been struggling as of late. And then with the Cavs are another interesting team that draws a lot of the chalk as of right now. So let's go over this. Kevin Love is now probable. He should be playing. I'm assuming because they need a center here to start for the Cavs because they are without Jarrett Allen, Markkanen, and now Mobley. Those guys are going to be out for the foreseeable future. I believe Mobley is dealing with an injury that's going to keep him sidelined for about 4 to 6 weeks. And we are without Sexton and also Stevens, but we've seen that picture here for a little bit. Then with Brooklyn, we have Claxton and Millsap. They are questionable. If they do play, then yeah, I'm going to be pretty much off all the value here for the Brooklyn Nets. Joe Harris remains out, and Chris. Wow. Kyrie Irving here is still out for the Brooklyn Nets. And then with Orlando, Jalen Suggs is questionable. If he is ruled out, then another bump here to Cole Anthony. Probably still won't trump the rest of the chalk on the slate, though. Nerlens Noel is officially out here for the Knicks. Nothing really going on there too much. Sacramento, nothing really going on with Minnesota. Nasri is questionable. That does give a slight boost in minutes here to some of the bigs, but other than that, not really impactful. And then with Houston, we are dealing with Porter. He is questionable. If he is ruled out, then that is some slight usage and minutes to go around the guard play here for the Houston Rockets. With OKC, nothing going on there. And then the big piece of injury news here with Dallas. Looks like Doncic is going to be out for the foreseeable future. Thoughts and prayers go out to him. I wish he would be playing for the entirety of the season because I'm a huge Doncic fan. He was obviously in the MVP race, but now that he's going to be out for a significant amount of time, it doesn't look like it's going to pan out well for him. Regardless, hope for a speedy recovery there with Luka. Hopefully he can get back on the court soon. But he is out for this game, and same thing with Kleber. So much usage to go around this roster, so many minutes to go around here. Huge bump here to the Dallas Mavericks in general. And then with Phoenix, we actually have DeAndre Ayton. He was back last game. He's also back this game. Kaminsky is questionable. Doesn't really impact the usage there for the guards. Just affects the usage here for the centers. DeAndre Ayton does get a slight bump here. We'll be visiting that picture here shortly. Then last but not least, we have Vooch still out. However, all the price tags have been adjusted for the Chicago Bulls. Nothing really happening there. And then also with Portland, Damian Lillard is still questionable. If he is ruled out, significant boost all the way around to the rest of the roster. And same thing with Norman Powell. A lot of minutes, a lot of usage to go around if any one of those guys are ruled out. So now let's go with what we know. Right now, we have so many pieces of pending injury news to kind of lead us up through lock. We might be going live here a little bit later in the day. It kind of depends on whether TJ is going to be home or not. By the way, we are doing a giveaway Friday, another $25 giveaway. The last winner was Colin from our last giveaway last Friday. So if you guys want to be entered into that $25 giveaway, please like, subscribe, and also comment your favorite pay-up option for this slate. I'm kind of interested to hear where you guys are going in terms of the public because there's not really an obvious pay-up option on the slate other than one guy we'll talk about here in a little bit. But looks like we're going to have a lot of value to go through, and a lot of the lineup constructions are going to come up to you landing on a pay-up option. So I want to hear your favorite pay-up options. And again, I will be announcing the winner of that $25 giveaway on Friday. But now let's go ahead and go team by team, game by game. Just kidding. We're going to go over the obvious teams here. first, and I'll go over some of my favorite GPP plays. And also, we do have ownership here provided by Fantasy Cruncher. So Fantasy Cruncher, thank you so much for getting that out early. I'm recording this video at 9:30 a.m. So updated here very, very early for you guys. Let's actually take a look here at the Dallas Mavericks, because I do expect they will be the chalkiest team on the slate. All right, with Luka Doncic off the court, let's actually take a look at this picture. And this was going back through the last 2 seasons, because this roster didn't change too much. So I felt confident in rolling out the same exact numbers here. Jalen Brunson averaging 1.04 fantasy points per minute, carrying a 22.6% usage rate with Doncic off the floor. That was in 749 minutes of sample size. If we take a look here at the usage rate, who gets the biggest boost? Jalen Brunson is in the top 5 here, getting a 2.2% usage bump with a 0.11 fantasy point per minute bump. Tim Hardaway here all the way at the top, getting a 0.23 fantasy point per minute boost and a 6.4% usage, and that's in 598 minutes of sample size. So Tim Hardaway averaging 1.11 fantasy points per minute here with Doncic off the court historically, and he's under one fantasy point per minute player historically with Doncic on the court. So huge bump there to Tim Hardaway. Another guy we're going to be taking a look at here is obviously Porzingis. He is going to be the chalkiest guy in the slate here, other than Brunson, carrying exactly a 30% usage and a 1.27 fantasy point per minute when you do take Doncic off the court. So that's very noteworthy. Some other honorable mentions here we're going to be talking about. Reggie Bullock averaging 0.77 fantasy points per minute. This is his first year with the team, 18.1% usage, but we know he's just a shooter, so he should get heavier volume here in terms of shooting. Then also Finney Smith doesn't really get a usage bump. He is averaging 0.63 fantasy points per minute here with Doncic off the court. So when we compare all of that information here to the price tags, let's take a look here at the chalkiest guys. In terms of ownership, Brunson, Porzingis, and Hardaway. We just looked at the Roto Grinders court IQ to see who got the biggest boost in usage, and that all makes sense. So these 3 guys will be mega chalk, and they should be leading all the way up through lock. I don't think there's too many people that would prioritize over these guys. Jalen Brunson, 5.7K price tag. Almost half the field's going to have him in bigger GPPs. He has a 7.25 value when you convert that over the 1.11 fantasy points per minute over the Brunson's price tag, comes out to 41.3 points. And then Porzingis at a 7.4K price tag comes out to a 6.01 value. Love him as well on the same exact thing here with Hardaway. They're all projected about 34, 35-ish minutes, 21.2% ownership here. Comes out to a 38.85 projection and a 7.33 fantasy point projection. One guy that's going to be flying under the radar from this team, we just talked about him here, Reggie Bullock, because he is a bottom of the barrel price tag, going to make a very awkward build if you do happen to land on them, because there's not too many crazy good value plays here. So Bullock, a 3.6 projected ownership here. We have him projected for 22.33 points, and he's actually the best value on this team. So I do like him for bigger GPPs. I think he provides another way to get different there in terms of lineup construction, just because that 3K price tag is very, very cheap. Other than that, yeah, I guess you could throw DFS into the player pool here. I don't really like him in terms of the upside. He does have a lot of projected minutes here with 33 projected minutes. Comes out to a 5.4 point per dollar value, but really no interest there. I do like the top guys. I love Brunson, love Porzingis, love Tim Hardaway, and I like Reggie Bullock. And I only like Reggie Bullock in terms of GPPs. Now let's go ahead and bump over to the Cleveland Cavs, because they are decimated in terms of the center play. So let's see how those minutes and usage are going to affect the rest of the roster here. When we take a look at Cleveland, when we take Markkanen, Sexton, Stevens, and Mobley off the court, I did not include Jarrett Allen there, because when I did take him off the court, it really didn't give us a good sample size. And really, these 4 players don't give us that good of a sample size, but it gives us a good idea of really who benefits the most. And honestly, Ricky Rubio is that guy. He is the guy to target here from the Cleveland Cavs. He's been doing it all, been distributing, been shooting well, and he does have the highest usage rate here on the team with a 32.8% usage, and he's technically averaging 1.39 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the court. At a 6.5K price tag, I think he is still far too cheap, and he's also showing a good amount of ownership here at 26.5 projected ownership. Comes out to 39.96 fantasy points and a 6.15 point per dollar value. So I really do like Ricky Rubio. I think he's another focal point. Again, we are close to making an entire lineup with all my favorite plays. And I do think that the Cavs and Dallas Mavericks are going to make for a majority of the chalk here. Cedi Osman is another guy that broke the slate last time that the Cavs had all these injuries. He actually scored 43 DraftKings points in the 31 minutes that he did play. We can expect a similar type of minute output here. I don't think Kevin Love eats into his minutes that much. Kevin Love only projected 23 minutes. I can confidently say that really nobody knows how many minutes he's going to play. I don't think he's going to be playing, 25 plus minutes here, especially with his first game back. So therefore, more of a minute boost here to Cedi Osman. I think he's a very safe play. We talked about him last slate and how he could break the slate, and he very well did here. Comes out to an 8.58 point per dollar value. I think that's the highest on the slate. So let me just sort here. Yeah, he's the best play in terms of our projections on the slate right now. So Cedi Osman, $4,000, another fantastic value play here on the slate. Dean Wade is also showing ownership. The one thing with Dean Wade is historically he's not a good fantasy point per minute player, as you guys can see. Even when he does play minutes, 35, 30 minutes, he doesn't have value. I really don't get the ownership here. I think there's far better value here with a lot more upside. Darius Garland is another guy that's showing some ownership. I think it's a little low. Just with the amount of minutes that he does play, he always has tremendous upside. He's always playing 35 plus minutes, and especially in this type of game script where they will need somebody to score and score quite often for them. Brooklyn is favored by 10 points, so this game should be close enough for him to see extended minutes. And like I said, he's always on the court, even in blowouts. So at 11.7% ownership, I really do like Darius Garland here. Fantasy point per minute wise, he's been struggling to start the season. But minutes. Always prioritize minutes here with the Cavs. And I absolutely love him in terms of overall upside for GPPs. Last but not least, we do have Okoro here, another guy that's playing a decent amount of minutes. He did break the slate last slate as well. 28.75 points is what he scored. Historically, not the best fantasy point per minute player, and is also showing lower ownership. Therefore, I do prefer him for GPPs. But for cash games, Ricky Rubio and Cedi Osman, plus the 3 Dallas guys, have pretty much just built your lineup there for cash games. You just kind of have to fill in the rest there. Those guys are going to be mega chalk, and I don't see that changing here going up through lock, even despite the other pieces of injury news that we are waiting on right now. And honestly, the rest of the slate's going to be a couple one-offs that do pop out. One guy I didn't talk about so far is going to be THT at 4.8K, still underpriced. He did play 37 minutes last game. Crush value. If he's going to continue to play 35 plus minutes, then yeah, he's going to be a mega lock at 4.8K. I do expect his price tag to get close to 6K as the season progresses, just because, he is continuing to play more and more minutes here for the Lakers. We'll see how that is affected here once LeBron James does get back. But as of right now, you're getting him at a 4.8K price tag discount. So really do like him here. We have him projected for 36.3 points. Some other guys to really talk about here, DeAndre Ayton, 6.2K, did play more minutes than we expected in his first game back last game in a good matchup. So I do like him again, just a cheap last center piece there. Did play 33 minutes last game. He is projected 30 minutes again. And again, Kaminsky is questionable. So if he is ruled out, then yeah, slight bump here to DeAndre Ayton. A decent pay-up option is going to come from this Minnesota-Sacramento game. Anthony Edwards, just a very good volume shooter here. I shouldn't say good. He has a lot of volume, and he does shoot often here for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They are in a 223.5 over-under, so you take a high-volume shooter, high-usage guy here from that game, and it should pay off for you. So he does come in a slight discount here at 8.1K. Did dip down to 7.9, and as you can see, he just shoots all the time. 11, 22, 11, 27, 22, 22, 21 field goal attempts his past however many games that was. So do like Anthony Edwards in terms of his overall upside. He is carrying a decent amount of ownership, and I do like him here as a last piece. Matu, who are you, from Sacramento? 3.8K. He has been inserted into the starting lineup because Sacramento has been struggling, and he's been playing tremendous amount of minutes. Played 24 and 32 his past 2 games at a 3.8K price tag, and he is forward eligible. Okay, so he's playing like a bigger role here, being power forward eligible on DraftKings. So I don't mind him as a value last piece if he does start. If he does start, that's going to be a great value play to target from a very high over-under, just like we said. So I do like Matu, 3.8K, showing 17.6% ownership. And the rest of these guys, honorable mentions here. Cade Cunningham has been shooting very well as of last game. 6.1K did break the slate. I had him in my GPP, and I got close to a takedown shot, 50% from the field for the first time this year. So I do like him. 6.1K. Christian Wood, D'Angelo Russell, coming from that high over-under again, 7.3K, and then also Josh Giddey with the price decrease at 6.2K. Now, I took all my projections and kind of threw them into the optimizer, threw on 25% randomness, and these are the exposures that I got. So let's see if I missed anybody. We talked about Osman, One of my favorite plays on the slate, Brunson, Hardaway, THT. Porzingis is going to be my favorite pay-up option. But also, if we do talk about this in terms of lineup construction, I am landing on a lot of Giannis. I don't think he's going to be very chalky. We'll see come the time of lock. But right now, 3.2% ownership, that seems criminal. That doesn't seem right. Giannis in a somewhat competitive matchup. I get that Chris Middleton's back, but that doesn't really affect Giannis because Giannis is the guy here on the team that does everything. I do like the matchup here at 12.5K. And you're going to be forced to pay up for some elite options. So Giannis is up there. James Harden didn't play that much last game. If we take a look at their roster, their price tags did go up for the studs here, and they're expected to play extreme minutes here versus Cleveland Cavs. I almost feel bad for them because Brooklyn did not play well last game. But I do prefer Giannis here as a pay-up option. Going down the list here, Bam Adebayo, if he does play, is at a good price tag. Cat, and there's really no other interest that I have here. But yeah, if I'm paying up for one guy in the slate, it's going to be Giannis, 12.5K. He only has to get to 60 points, 60.3 points or so to hit that value. And again, when you're forcing in so many value plays, I think it makes for a higher ownership projection on somebody like Giannis. So I do think he's going to be a little bit higher owned here the closer to the lock we get. And now let's go over my favorite prize pick entry here for this NBA slate. Right now, I'm taking a look at Kevin Durant at 45. This went down from last game from 48. I don't really get that. So if this game does remain competitive, it's going to be through Kevin Durant. And even if it does blow out, it's going to be all Kevin Durant. This 45-point projection is just way too low for me. I do like Kevin Durant to hit the over on 45. If you guys haven't signed up for PrizePicks, go ahead and enter code using DGF for 100% matchup to $100 on sign up. One of the easiest ways to play fantasy sports today. You simply hit the over or under on any certain fantasy point projection, and they even have single player props. So single stat DFS such as points, rebounds, assists, 3 points made. If you guys are into that, go ahead and head over to there. Prop betting is one of the biggest edges in all of betting for fantasy sports today. And that will wrap up my video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course smash that like button for all of our future DFS content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.